drive for them. And then when they, after a couple of miles, they say, okay, Mac, we're here, just drop us off. So they get out. One guy goes, he said, hey, bud, that was a bumpy ride. My father said, you're the first one to get out of there that's complained. Great, you couldn't ride it, could you?
But growing up with death all around you then, as your father was an undertaker, did it affect you?
No. I'll tell you for why. Because I was the youngest in the family, and at 2 years of age, we moved.
Okay.
Yeah, so we moved. My father moved on. It was time we moved up to the big city, the big smoke of Belfast. Right. And then he bought a shop there, a grocery, sort of come everything. And so really, by the time I was growing up, it was more the shop. Right. It was more the getting the sweets of the mammy and getting on the tram, because the trams used to go from where we were, a place called Laganeel. We used to get on the tram, and on my own, I suppose, when the mammy would sort of say goodbye to you, and you'd get this tram and it would go about half a mile down to a place called Ardoyne, and then I would go to school there, the Holy Child School, and Holy Cross. So I grew up. The great thing about growing up in Belfast, Dougie, is you have access to the theatres and the cinemas, and in the 50s I was lucky enough to be able as a kid to go with my dad and my older brothers to see the great twice nightly variety shows in the Grand Opera House and the Empire, and these shows were absolutely stunning. 2.25 hours with an interval. It'd be 6:15 and 8:45, and you'd have a top of the bill: Lonnie Donegan, Max Bygraves, David Whitfield, but they'd only do half an hour. You would have a complete show on it. Billy Dainty would do his funny walk, Mickey and Grift would close the first half. There was an orchestra backing all these acts. There was, and for like a shilling you could sit in the gallery, and it was 2.25 hours of pure escapism.
But I mean, did that begin your desire to get into show business because you saw all that?
Undoubtedly. Yeah. Undoubtedly. You can hear the music even, you can smell, going up those steps, you can hear the orchestra playing, and you can see, because the theatres had the spotlights, the lights, it was pure showbiz.
In your early years growing up, did church mean anything to you? Did a faith mean anything to you at all?
Yeah, well, we were Catholic, so Mass was the big thing. And Mass was in Latin then, so we actually learned it in Latin at school. And now really I could probably, even the Our Father, Pater Noster, Qui in Celi, Sanctificetur, it's in your DNA, because the masses were in Latin. It was then, obviously, the wonderful Pope John the 23rd. He was an incredible man, because he was from a peasant background, but he had this great creative vision to get all the cardinals from all around the world and start to say how we can improve. And he thought, why don't we make it in the vernacular for every country? So the kids will know exactly if it's in English in England and UK, in Spain it'll be in Spanish. So that was one of the things from the Second Vatican Council, which Pope John XXIII he inaugurated. So I saw the difference between the coming from the Latin into the English. But like everybody else, it was more turning up, socialising. You were more excited. Who was the blonde sitting over the thing, you know where I'm coming from, really, when you're growing up. And so that was it. But still important, because right from wrong, a belief in God and the church it's still a fabulous bringing and growing and learning, and to know right from wrong and give you a moral compass, basically.
Which goes... Today, tragically, so few have really, don't they? I mean, it was a different generation, wasn't it? In that era of really laying down what is right, what is wrong, and why it was right and why it was wrong.
Exactly.
As you developed that, did there come a need where you felt, hey, yes, fine, I'm going to church, but I need a deeper commitment? Did that ever come about?
Yeah, it did, because I sort of always wanted to be a comic, and it was the school thing, the laughing, getting laughs with the boys and things were making you feel important. And then because I underachieved, the laughs were more than actually getting the exams right. I could rehearse the jokes, but I didn't really bruise up on the maths and the, you know. I remember coming home one day, and I said to my dad, "Dad, I'm no good at arithmetic." He said, "Don't worry, son, that makes 3 of us." So I think when it gets too, it's nice for a one-liner.
Yeah.
Pepper them with one-liners.
Yeah. Go on, get them laughing.
This is what you wanted, customers.
Laughter is
the
great,
medicine, yes. But I'm keeping on, obviously, to the thread of the story, and it's all gone lovely and chronological. It's perfect. My elder brother Brian came back from Ponton's holiday camp in Ireland. And a lot of people don't realise that they had. We all know Billy Butland had Clacton-on-Sea, and he had Minehead, and he had Bognor Regis, and they were the big thing in the 40s and 50s. But he actually had an Irish camp, just 26 miles from Dublin. And my brother had gone there with his fiancée. They were to get married, and they live in Scotland now, bless them. And he came back and he said, "No, I've just seen a job would suit you. I mean, you keep getting fired from these factories because you're telling jokes. These people will pay you to tell the holidaymakers jokes and help them make a good holiday." I said, "Yeah." So without even going to Butland's, without even having a holiday, he instilled in me this vision of the perfect job for my requirements, right? So I wrote off to them and said, "Could I become a red?" And what it was a red coat, actually. That was a great idea from Billy Butland. Billy Butland was a bit of a genius because he was originally Canadian, and he worked in a fairground, but he would sit in a summer resort in the 40s and look around at people walking around the resorts in the rain, being thrown out of guest houses, the landlady after their breakfast, and the rain coming down, and he thought, we need something that's indoors. We need something then that can host for them, like Redcoats, to make sure they're all organised things. And then he did another wonderful thing, way ahead of his time. When they pay a basic money up front, everything else, their entertainment in the theatre, and there was big theatres, 3,000 seaters with orchestras, that's all free. So the only thing they had to, if they wanted to drink at night, but everything was, they didn't have to worry. And their 3 meals a day. And when you think of it, it was really innovative. And it was, and to be honest, in those days too, because we had a family down our way called the Colwells, which you would say were quite well off, and they were going to Butland's. It was upmarket actually in the 50s to go to the Irish Butland's holiday camp. Anyway, I read off. I get an interview. The interview turned a bit more an audition, really. I bounced in, doing the gags and everything, and there was 2 guys there. There was the guy, the entertainment manager from the camp in Mosney, and then there was the guy from the English camps. He was an area manager, and I remember him saying to the other guy, I think we're going to fight over this fella, and I thought, I've got it here. They're making a fuss of me. I've got something right. I said, "Boys, don't put the coats off. I'm here. No, take me." and that was, and then I got an offer, and the offer was this: we can pay you to be a red coat entertainer, stroke host, and it'll be £6 a week plus full board. So, and basically I sent a £5 back to the mummy every week and kept a quid, because it's a bad red coat that has to buy his own drinks. I mean, first thing, it's Uncle Jimmy, what are you having? And that. So that was and then the next obviously thing was I wanted to come across really to the UK, and that was a stepping stone because I could get a job as a redcoat in Clacton-on-Sea. So that got me I wasn't starting from absolute scratch in the clubs. I could get my feet in before I took a deep breath and got into the northern clubs. And I didn't even know about the northern clubs, to be honest. It was an entertainments manager in Clacton said he'd started to put me on the shows, and I was starting to, enjoy the work.